Shirley Solomon with the North Carolina Housing Coalition. Thank you for joining us this morning for our housing call. And without further ado, I will turn it over to our Executive Director, Samuel Gunter.
It's a pleasure to have you this morning in our weather that will not make up its mind whether it's going to be hot or cold. And if I can finally get the shorts and the short sleeve shirts out of the attic for these kids. You got me this morning. Stephanie is feeling a little bit under the weather, so I apologize that you have to go with the B team here. All right, well, let's jump into the call notes. So a couple of highlights for this week. For those of you who have not seen Housing Matters from last week, we have released our 2026 county profiles. We have been doing these for really before my time, and pulling together data about all 100 counties here in North Carolina, what the cost burden is for homeowners, for renters, what eviction rates and foreclosure rates look like, what cost burden looks like for people of different incomes. And over the years, many of you have used these as advocacy tools, have used these in grant writing, have used these to communicate with supporters and volunteers and donors and other partners to help understand the scope of the need in your community. And we hope that you continue to use these well, and we would love to hear how you're using them. It's helpful for us as we continue to modify them, continue to redesign them. Think about the overarching narrative, what kind of data points we include or take away, and so on. As we hear from you how you're using them and how people are receiving them as well. But please check out our website as well as Housing Matters from last week to take a look at the profiles for your county and see what has changed. And we look forward to hearing more from you. And you can find those on our website at nchousing.org. So that's some big news from us. I'll also say on the data side, while we're here, we are also looking forward this week to the release of the GAP report from the National Low Income Housing Coalition. So this is a report that documents the shortage of affordable homes across the United States. And it talks about the gap between those who are in need of more affordable housing and the units that exist. What's the delta there? How do we understand what the work ahead of us looks like in terms of its scale? So that is going to be released on March 5th of this week, and you can look ahead to our analysis about what this means for North Carolina in conversation with the county profiles that we just dropped last week. So it's a big data week. All of this was delayed a little bit because of the census data being delayed. But we are finally there, especially as we are looking ahead to the beginning of our short legislative session. A couple of other organizational updates before we jump into policy updates. You can register today for our second annual Housing Day at the General Assembly. This year, this Housing Day is going to be co-hosted by us, Habitat for Humanity of North Carolina, the North Carolina Coalition on Homelessness, and the North Carolina Community Land Trust Coalition. So Tuesday, April 28th, we will gather for training and networking. And on Wednesday, April 29th, we're going to gather at Halifax Mall and meet with legislators at the General Assembly. You can register on our website, and registration will be open through April 3rd. We've already seen an incredible response to this, so please do not wait. Go ahead and sign up for this because we are, and we'll talk about this a little bit in just a second, we are still the only state in the country that has not passed a budget. And particularly the lack of workforce housing loan program funds is going to have an incredible impact on our state's ability to provide and build affordable housing across the state. So please sign up for that today. The other event that we want you to keep on top of mind is that you are also able to register for this year's Bringing It Home, Ending Homelessness in North Carolina conference on May 27th and 28th at the McKimmon Center in Raleigh. So this is largely geared toward folks who work on the homelessness end of the housing continuum. and allies and folks to collaborate to talk together about what is going on federally with resources that are targeted at folks experiencing homelessness, how we can do our work better, how we can partner more together to navigate the incredible uncertainty of this time, particularly when it as it pertains to the resources that many of these organizations use to provide the services that they provide. So again, you can register on our website May 27th and 28th at the McKimmon Center in Raleigh for Bringing It Home. And this again is a conference that we put on in partnership with the North Carolina Coalition on Homelessness and the North Carolina Department of Housing and Health and Human Services ESG office. So thanks to our partners there. All right, let's jump into some policy updates. I've got a little bit for you today, and then I'm going to let you go about your day. Kind of the big news this week is the White House is proposing a DHS spending plan, and votes are planned later this week. Many of you have seen in the news that there is a partial federal government shutdown around the Department of Homeland Security as Democrats in Congress are demanding concessions, particularly around ICE. House Speaker Johnson said on Sunday that he plans to hold a vote this week, and there's pressure being applied in both directions to get a deal passed. This is important for housing policy because FEMA runs through the DHS budget, right? And so all disaster recovery is a piece of this as well. So keep an eye on how that plays out this week. Last week, Senate Democrats also introduced the American Homeownership Act. This is a bill that would end federal tax deductions and other benefits for corporations purchasing homes. This bill also proposes increased antitrust enforcement and new investments in affordable housing using the funds saved from ending corporate tax breaks. The bill aligns with the president's recent executive order to curb corporations from buying tens of thousands of single-family homes across the U.S. I would say this is also linked to some of the property tax efforts happening in the General Assembly right now, although we'll probably say more about that. We have said some in past weeks, and we'll probably say more in the coming weeks. As we turn to the state, again, we still do not have a state budget, which consequences are all coming all across state government and across state systems. In housing, that is particularly true around the low-income housing tax credit, as we do not have workforce housing loan appropriations. And so the current cycle of applications is looking to be awarded without any of that gap financing. This is going to mean fewer units. It is going to mean challenges in making these deals work and getting these units on the ground to serve folks across the state. This is also coming out in many other ways, targeting key rental assistance and so on. It is critical that we pass a budget. Again, please sign up for the North Carolina Housing Day coming up. We are working hard behind the scenes to try and get an agreement to include this funding in whatever budget deal, whatever spending package ends up passing out of this General Assembly. Although I will say we are still seeing an incredible amount of impasse between the two chambers, between Senate Republicans and House Republicans in the state General Assembly. Also looking at the legislature, Senator Berger, who is locked in a pretty intense primary, and election day is today for those of you who are registered to vote here in North Carolina. But days ahead of that primary election, the Senate President Pro Tem Phil Berger proposed a 12-month pause on property tax revaluations across the state. According to Senator Berger, this would give lawmakers time to enact property tax reforms. However, a pause on reevaluations may end up costing counties money, as these take time. They take 2 or more years of planning and rely on recent home sales. At least 12 counties are planning revaluations in 2026 here in North Carolina, and 25 are planning revaluations in 2027. Excuse me. So keep an eye on this. There, obviously, the property tax committee that is happening on the House side is taking a look at property tax exemptions right now, among other things. There is, like with many things this session and last, there's a lot of disagreement between the House and the Senate on what those priorities are. So again, we'll keep you updated on what how this shakes out. But at the moment, there does not seem to be any kind of agreement between House Republicans and Senate Republicans on how to proceed relative to property taxes. So, a couple of upcoming legislative meetings to keep on your calendar. Wednesday, March 18th at 9:30 a.m., the House Select Committee on Involuntary Commitment and Public Safety is going to meet. I think this is for those of you who do this kind of work or engage in this. I think it's a committee hearing to keep on your radar, especially as the president mentioned Irina from Charlotte in his State of the Union address, invited her mother to attend the State of the Union. This is all part of this kind of broader policy conversation at the moment. So I think that is absolutely worth putting on your calendars if you work in any way with folks experiencing homelessness. We also, Wednesday, March 18th at 10 a.m., the House Select Committee on Property Tax Reduction and Reform will meet as well. So again, keep your eye on those for those of you engaged in property tax issues. A couple of disaster recovery housing updates. The North Carolina Community Foundation awarded $9 million for disaster recovery in Western North Carolina. These are for long-term disaster recovery programs, grants between $25,000 to $100,000, funding a range of rebuilding projects and several rental assistance funds for families impacted. A couple of other local headlines. Fox 8 talking about housing was a key topic in the Greensboro City Council retreat. Triangle Business Journal talking about a mobile home park on I-85 selling for $9 million. The Technician talking about gentrification and development around NC State's campus. It's an interesting article that's worth reading for those of you in Raleigh. A couple of other reports, events, resources to keep top of mind. Again, the GAP report from National Low Income Housing Coalition is going to be released this week on March 5th. So stay tuned for that, both from their social media and website and also from ours as we do a deeper dive on the North Carolina impact there. A couple of other events. HUD is hosting their Office of Policy Development and Research is hosting a quarterly update on Wednesday, March 4th, focusing on homelessness and the path ahead for policymaking. Registration for that closes today at 3. So if you're interested in that. The North Carolina Women's Affordable Housing Network is having a happy hour Wednesday, March 4th from 5 to 7. You can register for that. Urban Institute is doing a webinar on innovations designed to deliver the promise of home ownership on March 16th from 1 to 5. And for those of you who have not gone through this, I highly recommend it. UNC School of Government is doing their Community Development Academy March 17th through 19th and April 14th through 16th in Chapel Hill. This is an intensive course designed for community development practitioners and covers the concepts, methods, strategies of community and economic development here in North Carolina. It provides folks with a sense of the legal landscape, what is and is not allowable in North Carolina around community development. It's an incredibly helpful course. I've been through it. Much of our staff has been through it. I think most anyone in local government has been through it. It's an incredibly helpful course. I encourage you to look it up. Also, the 2026 Rural Summit is coming up March 26th and 27th at Raleigh Marriott Crabtree Valley. And for those of you who haven't seen our former executive director, Chris Estes, who is now at the Rural Center, you can swing by the conference and say hi. Another conference to keep on your radar, the Just Economy Conference from the National Community Reinvestment Coalition is being held April 14th and 15th at the Washington Hilton Hotel in Washington, D.C. That is also a conference worth attending if you do broader community and economic development in addition to affordable housing. So again, those are the headlines for this week. Again, for us, please check out our county profiles. Let us know how we're doing on those, how you're using them, how they're being received, any ways that we can continue to improve and tweak them. And at the state side, we still have no budget. So please sign up for Housing Day this year. Register for it on our website so you can be part of ensuring that whatever spending package does end up getting approved includes critical funds for affordable housing. Again, thank you so much for everything that you do to make housing a reality for folks across the income spectrum in your communities. Enjoy your day, and we will see you next time.